Hello, beautiful souls. How do we know when we're choosing from a place of love or a place of fear? So when we're making decisions and we're learning to establish a sense of trust in the decisions that we're making, we can simplify it by looking at it as love or fear. And the way to best describe these two variations is going to give you sensations in your body. It's going to give you a much different mindset when we're choosing from one of those places. So if we're making a decision that is coming from a place of fear, you may notice that there is a sense of seeking control over an outcome. There may be a sense of rushing a situation and putting a timestamp on it. It needs to get done right now, and if it doesn't, I'm gonna be really upset. And yeah, of course, there's deadlines that need to take place with certain things. But when we're making a decision about something, putting a time frame on it, when we can maybe sit back and let it flow a little bit more, maybe we can release a little bit more control. But when we're coming from a place of fear, there's often a sense of trying to hold on to that sense of control. It usually is going to create a sense of anxiety. It's going to create a sense of pressure, and often it's going to also create resistance in the situation to where you may find pushback. And in turn, more fear may surface because it's, well, why isn't it happening? Why isn't it looking the way that I want it to, right? And we're immediately placing all of that decision making on fear. When we choose from a place of love, there's often a much more expansiveness, there's an openness, there's also a sense of trust in the situation. There's no longer a sense of control or seeking to attain something, but rather there is a letting go. There is a detachment that's taking place because there's a sense of knowing. There's a sense of, I know that whatever the outcome is going to be is coming from a place of love, and I know that it will turn out better than I could have ever imagined. And so when we make choices from that place, it often feels very light, it feels good, and it's really coming from a place of the soul versus fear, which tends to come from the place of the ego. So when we're making decisions, when we're making choices, reflect on each time that you are choosing something. Am I making this decision from a place of fear, or am I making this decision from a place of love? And the more that you can pause before you make a decision and really reflect on that concept, it will become a lot easier to recognize how you want to make decisions and what's going to feel best. And now, if you were to even pause in this moment and ask your body to show you what fear would feel like, or ask your body, what does love feel like? And you may notice that fear is compressed. Fear may have a sense of moving very quickly. It may also have a sense of heaviness and restriction. For each person, it may show up very different. But the more you can identify what fear feels like in your body, you can apply that to recognizing when you're making a decision. And the same goes for love. When you choose something from a place of love, it usually will have a lightness, it will have an expansiveness. It might resonate in the space of your heart. It might even feel warm, right? It might feel very nourishing and good. And it has a sense of, it's just infinite. It just continues to flow. There's no restriction or resistance within it. So when you can begin to identify those two feelings, when you go to make a decision about something, just ask yourself, am I choosing this from a place of love, or am I choosing this from a place of fear? And notice how your body responds. And once you begin to learn more and more about how your body is letting you know what choices you're making, you will learn to trust yourself and your decisions much more efficiently as well. It will start to become more familiar, where rather than becoming overwhelmed with choices and feeling like, I don't know if I can trust the decision that I'm making in this moment, you'll be able to tap into your body and notice what the experience is. You can also pause and reflect on, what would it feel like if I did this? What would it feel like if I did that? And pausing and envisioning yourself in that experience of making that choice. And notice the difference in the variation of feeling. Notice if one decision causes you to feel heaviness and stagnation. And notice if the other decision would make you feel expansive and open. And that can often be a good way to determine which decision to make. Now, the other thing that's important to recognize is that whenever we make a decision, sometimes we can often get ourselves stuck or feeling completely blocked. Whether it's feeling overwhelmed, or maybe at some point in our lives we weren't allowed to make a choice. Maybe we didn't have a say in things, and because of that, it's caused us to depend and rely on other people for their opinions. So this is where you can start to reclaim that sense of connection to self and your own voice and what feels best for you. So it's also important to recognize that whatever decision that you decide to make, whatever you choose, in whatever area of life that may be, it does not have to be perceived as good or bad. Oftentimes we make a decision, and even if, let's say, it wasn't the greatest decision, we can look at it and say, what did this teach me? What did this show? How did I grow from this situation? Maybe there was information I needed to gain through that not so pleasant experience in order to catapult me into something even greater, but it prepared me for something. So even recognizing that as you're learning to discern between choosing love or fear, there is no right or wrong decision that can be made, because ultimately they are all providing opportunities for growth, expansion, and gaining more awareness and wisdom about yourself. So I hope that this is useful for you, and really taking the time, as I said, to pause before making any decisions or choices and ask yourself, am I choosing this from love or fear? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and I look forward to sharing more with you guys. Have a beautiful day or night whenever you find this.